Okay, recently people are manifesting. They see Haley as some kind of hero because she's a victim of James Casbolt. Doesn't make her a hero. Robert Kindler came out of nowhere. I had to go and double check because I'm like, is this who I think it is? I posted a photograph of James Casbolt, a still of a video recently, reappearance of him. You don't know how lovely you are. Robert Kindler is like, yeah, but try telling that to Haley. And I'm like, how do you know Haley? Oh, I know. Yeah, but how do you know her? She's just some victim of James Casbolt. Her identity is wrapped up in being a victim of James Casbolt. Okay, don't hate the chick. Don't hate the chick. I've got a lot to say, but we're not focusing on that. Brian saying, naturally, I was like, please be careful of Sarah Adams. I know you're hanging out with her. You're new to the community. A lot of us have been here for a long time. So, it's not what she's doing, it's who she is. It's who she is as a person. It's what happens when you have any kind of agreement with her, whether it's a friendship, a conversation, any kind of contractual language. It's not what she's doing at night. No, she's not doing witchcraft in her bedroom against you. It's who she is. She's a pure modern embodiment of the Lilith demon. That's all. People are human embodiments of certain spirits. That's all. So I've been wanting to say, the people who, it's weird how they'll go to defend certain people and then they'll just bring up the tabloid of James Casbolt. But what people don't understand, and this is so fascinating and it's going to blow your mind, the reality is actually so much worse. The reality is actually so much worse. And what's funny in that reality is that he is still found to be a completely sinless dove. The reality of James Casbolt is, and no one knows him the way that I know him, because he had the comfortability to come out and be his true soul self. And I'm like, damn, does anyone know you like this? And he's like, no, nobody else knows me like this. The reality of what you're dealing with is actually so much worse. So you can bring up a tabloid and it's like, I'm just saying something about Sarah Adams. I'm just warning somebody about Sarah Adams. And they're like, well, what about James Casbolt? And I'm like, I'm not talking about James Casbolt. I'm talking about Sarah Adams. She's the human embodiment of a Lilith demon. So if anyone has a wife or a child, I would say, please steer clear of her. Steer clear of her, in general. If you don't want to turn into a cunt or a cuck, if you don't want your wife to be tormented, if you don't want your child to die under mysterious circumstances, I would say just steer clear of Sarah Adams. She's the human embodiment of the modern day Lilith demon. There's a lot of her out there and they attack, their subjects. I would say just steer clear of them. So in my own personal life, I had to get men away from the human embodiment of Lilith, the clones and the replicas. I had to do that. So you have to do that because she will torment your wife and she will find a way to kill your kid or get your kid taken away from you or whatever. And then people just immediately go to oh, James Casbolt and the tabloid. And I'm like, I'm not talking about James Casbolt and the tabloid. If I say anything good about James Casbolt, Robert Kindler, super soldier, James professes that all you super soldiers are actually doing pornography. And he's like, he's a pervert. He's a pervert. He's a pervert. He actually has to watch porn all day long, just like the FBI do. Just like the virtual men in black have to watch porn all day long because of perverts. He's only monitoring a situation. He's not a pervert. He has to watch porn all fucking day long because people are still doing this shit. They don't understand. But regardless, I'm not talking about Haley Meyer. They bring up Haley Meyer. Oh my God, what would Haley say? What would Haley say? She's just a victim. That doesn't give you a personality. It doesn't give you grounds to become some kind of hero because you're a victim. That woman is afraid of everything. She's a beta sex kitten. She's virtually a Manchurian candidate of a beta sex kitten. My personal understanding, I know no different because I was friends with her for years. People are like, you don't know her like I know her. And I'm like, no, I actually know her because her agenda was to try to get me to hate James Casbolt. So therefore, she tried to create a relationship with me. And then at some point when California was on fire, she lost her shit and she showed her true colors and she was like, I fucking can't believe you. And she went off and she's mean and she's crazy and she's controlling. So I'm like, you know what? Being against James Casbolt is not a personality. It's not a personality that you can just like adopt. All that being said, the true reality of who and what James Casbolt is, funny how all you people think that you're finding some kind of blame in the tabloid. A modern day judge would probably find Haley to be a conniving witch. And all of those other women, conniving witches. Because in my objective study, I found nothing different. We're here 10 years later. So, yeah, he did the crime. Yeah, it did happen. He probably didn't have to go to jail for it. And you're like, well, I'm pulling up a tabloid and I'm just like, I'm going to form my opinion about James Casbolt based off the tabloid. The interesting thing of all is you don't understand. You have no idea. The true nature of the man is so much worse. So much worse. Sinless. A sinless dove. You can't imagine. I'm saying he was a sinless dove in his entire persecution. James Casbolt was, in my objective study, a sinless dove within his entire persecution because Haley Meyer was actually the predator from day one. She was actually the predator in the situation. And fast forward, if you only knew just how bad it is, you would crap your diaper. You would absolutely crap your diaper. James Casbolt is far, quote unquote, worse, but somehow still sinless dove, sinless in the eyes of God, in the eyes of Christ. He committed no sin ever. And like, correct me if I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, this is my like world life study of James Casbolt. The dude never committed a sin because there are sins that are like outside of what people think are sins. And I'm telling you, the reality is actually far worse. He embodies the most incredible sense of fear you've ever felt in your entire life. He imposes fear like you have never experienced. Like beyond natural disaster, that man possesses the spirit of fear that goes far beyond a natural disaster. He possesses the spirit of death that you will find to be beautiful if you encounter it. You will find beauty out of death. How crazy does that sound? You'll find beauty out of death. How crazy does that sound? not saying that we are like, oh, this is great, but in the sense that you're like, yeah, destroy the things that I hate. Destroy the things that I hate. Like, the people pull up a tabloid because they're just like, and the thing with Haley, it's like, I to Robert Kindler, I'm like, are you just like, is this just like organized crime? I'm like, do you actually know Haley? Oh yeah, I know her. And I'm like, yeah, if you know her, it's organized crime. So how do you know her? You're not friends with her. She has no friends. I've been friends with Haley for many years. She has no friends. She has an inability to create friendships. Her entire identity is just steeped in the tabloid that is Google through James Casbolt, that he was somehow this ultra predator against her, when all in all, she was the primordial predator against him. And the irony is, the truth is, who and what he actually is so much worse. It's so much more terrifying, I should say. It's so much more terrifying. And he's still a sinless, spotless dove. Sinless and spotless. Dude is without sin and without blemish. How? How does such a dark, creepy, he loves being creepy. He's like, I love being creepy. I'm creepy and I love being creepy. Because that's not a sin. It's not a sin to be the ultimate predator. It's not a sin to be full of fear, emitting fear into people. That's not a sin. And that's no reason to hate anybody. How come I don't hate him? I'm full of love. I love that man so much, like, not romantically. I'm just like, it's alchemized into love, because death and fear is alchemized into love, and he is still without spot or blemish. He is without spot or blemish. Like, correct me if you think that I am wrong. He can't repent for any sin because he never committed any sin. I'm not saying he's the best person in the world. I'm just saying, the funny thing about James Casbolt is people pull up the tabloids as some kind of like counter argument to Sarah Adams or Haley Meyer. And I'm like, you people don't understand that the reality is actually far worse and far scarier. And like, you have no idea. Dude, nobody knows, maybe except for me and like the big high up elite. That dude is without sin. He committed no sin. He committed no sin. Did I make my point? I hope I made my point. Like, I've been wanting to say this all day. I just had to like drink enough to like say it. Why are people manifesting demons the way that they are? I'm just saying the reality of Haley Meyer. I'm just saying the reality of Sarah Adams. This is separate from James Casbolt. But then people are like, as a counter argument, they're like, well, what about James Casbolt? And I'm like, okay, you read a fucking tabloid that was a lie, that the modern day and age, he would be found innocent because women are highly predatory towards men. And Haley was highly predatory towards James Casbolt, continues to be highly predatory. Being a victim of James Casbolt doesn't make you a hero. I was friends with her for years. Her only agenda was just to try to like get me to hate the dude. Meanwhile, I'm over here experiencing the true dark nature of him. He did not hold back in showing me exactly how dark he is. And I'm like, dude, does anyone know you like this? And he's like, no, nobody knows me like this. And he can't repent because there's nothing to repent for. There's no crime. He committed no crime. Going against James Casbolt is not an arguing point. I'm pointing out the detriment in these females, and people are like, what about James Casbolt? And they pull up a tabloid. And they're like, oh, well, I know her. How do you know? If you know Haley Meyer, how? Are you friends with her? Yeah, no. They won't say it. I'm like, you're not friends with her because she doesn't have friends. Because it seems as if she has a bad personality. It seems as if she can't actually form friendships because she's such a traumatized individual. She's such a programmed, traumatized individual. She can't form friendships. So, no, you're not friends with her. You have some weird alliance to Hank Meyer or the Meyer family, which is organized crime, because you're not actually friends with her because she can't form friendships, because she's completely unable of forming friendships, because her personality is entirely narcissistic. She's entirely just an entertainer. She will only ever be agreeable to a point, and then she's going to stab you in the heart. You know, it's like my friend Nate Gray. He was like, she said she wanted to do a podcast, but then when it came time to do a podcast, she was just like, I'm too ugly to be on camera. And you know what? Maybe that's the case because she's actually a mega Jew. Like, no offense about Jews, but I have original photos which James sent me. She's a very Jewish looking woman. She looks like a witch with a huge nose. And then she got a nose job. And she's trying to somehow look Aryan just like me. Naturally, I've had no work done. And she's embarrassed of her face. So why is she freaking out about her appearance? It's like she'll talk you into a circle just to be like, I actually want to stab you in the heart. I actually want to abandon our plans. I want to abandon our... Dude, get the frick out of here. Like, all this being said, like, I don't want to stress over the divisive nature between these stupid women, Lilith Demon, Sarah Adams, and little beta sex kitten, lying machine, which they're both lying machines. Like, I don't hate them. I feel bad for Haley. I don't hate Sarah Adams because I'm like, damn, if you're that effing predatory, I'm like, good for you, girl. Dang, if Sarah Adams is that effing predatory, good for you. Wow. I'm like enamored. I'm like, holy smokes. You're so predatory. That's amazing. Take James Casbolt out of the equation and then also recognize the reality outside of the tabloid is actually so much worse. And you would think that was an arguing point. That's somehow an arguing point against James Casbolt, separate of these stupid women. Excuse me, like other women. He's so much worse than you people can even imagine. He's so much scarier than you people can imagine. The amount of fear that like he can project is out of this world. The amount of death that is like in his spirit is out of this world. And he's still sinless. He's still a sinless dove. Do you understand? He's still a sinless dove under Christ. Do you understand? James Casbolt has no sin. This is the singularity with Satanism probably becoming Luciferian. This is the singularity. You people don't even know. They're like, oh my God, James Casbolt is the worst person ever. And I'm over here like, you have no idea. And he's not the worst person ever, but he is frightening. He's very frightening. He's very powerful. He's very, very powerful and full of death. And he's still a sinless dove under Christ. And I'll correct myself if I find myself wrong, because I got no stake in the game. Like, me as an individual, like, I've got my own will. I've got my own, like, life. I've got my own influence. Like, I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. If I'm found wrong, I will completely correct myself in a heartbeat. Because I have my own soul embodiment. I have my own will. I have my own like experience, completely separate of James Casbolt. Just like these silly women should have their own identity separate of James Casbolt. Being a victim of James Casbolt is not an identity. Going against James Casbolt should not become an identity. It should not be, these shouldn't be arguing factors. We're just talking about the dude. And I'm telling you what I experienced him to be. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you are so dark. Does anyone know this? And he's like, not really. Not really on this level. You're the only one. And I'm like, okay, I still have a life and a will and an identity outside of him on my own. And at the same time, I see he's a completely spotless, sinless dove. All these things being said, he's still a completely spotless, blameless dove under Christ. That's probably Lucifer. Daniel says, had a dream about James Casbolt coming to America to do some research on heathens. I mean, the spirit has been here. And then, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us would really, love that. You know? I think, it's funny. It's like a lot of people love him. Like, the best people I've ever met. Like, the, most normal, easy to talk to, not dramatic, not victims, genuinely curious, genuinely Christian, love Jesus. Robert Kindler was like, you're starting a cult. And I didn't respond to it because it's true. There is a natural cult that forms around me and James Casbolt. At this point in time, it would be hard to associate James Casbolt without Lauren Pritchard. At this point in time, it's suspect. If somebody wants to associate James Casbolt without Lauren Pritchard, it's suspect. Terry Joyce did a couple streams, and I don't think she mentioned me whatsoever. That's the enemy. You can't have one without the other. So, yeah, naturally there's a cult forming. I'm not going to deny it. But the people are the most normal, freaking non-reactive, just peace-loving, truth-bearing, curious people. But the people who come against James Casbolt are the most witchy. I'm a victim. I'm got trauma. They're the worst people ever, dude. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know what? Hopefully not. There's also gray area. I don't know, Robert Kindler and Brian Sang, I think men have a longer threshold, but the women who hate James Casbolt, it's hating a man does not give you a personality. They're we need a personality so bad, so let's just hate some guy. I'm just this ultimate victim of James Casbolt, so let's just hate the guy. It doesn't give you a personality. Men have a type of dualism that is very different than a female dualism. So I do believe that there is time because we do not talk, and I feel like it's very purposeful, because why is he saying the same exact things that I'm saying? The super soldier paradigm is coming to an end. I'm saying that. He gets on a podcast and he says the same thing. The super soldier paradigm is coming to an end. Just be a normal person. Just be soul embodied and just take over reality. That's what I've been saying. I've been saying this for years. Even though I was friends with James Rank, I'm I don't love the fact that James Rank encourages people to ruminate in their madness. Just be a normal person, right? Just go out there and just make bank. Just make bank money. Just bankroll, dude. Just make money. Freaking stack shit up and just be normal and take over. Don't be using these programs, because also what is about to come out is that a lot of these old super soldiers who do not get out of the program, they're just porn stars. They're just being used for porn. So that's why Robert Kindler is like, James is a pervert. Yeah, because he has to watch your stupid effing porn all day, because all these old super soldiers are not getting out of the super soldier paradigm, and he's trying to keep track of who's not getting out of it. And he's watching your nonsense because he's like, these other people are still doing pornography. And then he gets on a podcast and he says, the super soldier paradigm is over. You people have to get out. Say, I don't consent. Don't do it anymore. He's like, because they're just roping you into pornography. That's why Robert Kindler was like, oh, he's a pervert, Lauren. He's a pervert. Little does he know, I know James Casbolt on a level that nobody else understands. And he's been telling me this shit all last year. Oh, he's a pervert watching porn because you stupid people are being used for porn. So he has to sit and watch porn all goddamn day long because of he's trying to keep track of the super soldiers who are still doing porn. And who do they belong to? They belong to Haley's father. Are the dots connecting? Is it making sense yet to you? Is it making sense? Are the dots connecting? In the end, the super soldiers are going to be allegiant to Hank Meyer and Haley Meyer for no reason. For no reason to Haley Meyer. She has a bad personality. She's had so much plastic surgery, she doesn't even look like herself. She's a very Jewish looking woman. And she is just like, doesn't have a good personality. And she won't form a friendship with you. And you find some kind of allegiance through her to Hank Meyer. You're doing porn. That's what you're doing. You're doing porn. Because the better of us got out of that stuff. And we're not doing porn. And we find no value in a friendship with her. And that's not some kind of contrast against James Casbolt. He's completely blameless and sinless in his crimes because the predator from the beginning was her and that family. And that's just my objective understanding. Like, I came in objectively. I spent years being objective before I was like, my conclusion is this family actually had a vendetta. Like, they actually had an agenda. They had a vendetta. They had an agenda. It was her idea to spread her asshole and take humiliating photos. It was her idea to say, yeah, put a freaking gag thing in my mouth and take a photo. This was all her idea. So naturally, when she stole his son, naturally, what would a man do? Put those stupid photos everywhere. That's what every man would do. Because I have these humiliating photos of my creepy wife who had a humiliation kink of just being humiliated with all these stupid photos. It was Haley's idea. All right, mic drop. Mic drop.